Look what we have here. These little guys arrived yesterday. They are Cornish Cross meat birds, and we're going to document how quickly they grow for you here. You won't believe how big they get in 8 weeks when they're ready to be harvested. And we just got them in this big rubber tote with a little wire mesh on top. Heat lamp over here, keep them warm at night. And once they get bigger, we'll put them in a chicken tractor. Feeding them, they're doing pretty good. We had ordered 30. We took half of them, and the Homestead down the road took half. There's some over here getting a drink. And the water's doing pretty good. We should probably put some rocks in there, but it's not that deep. And they look to be doing pretty good and not at risk of drowning themselves in there. So yeah, we'll just leave them here until in the big rubber tote, until they get covered with feathers. And then we'll move them to the tractor, let them get out on the grass. Let's check on the baby meat birds here. Looks like they're doing pretty good. It's been cold and rainy. Got the heat lamp on. Looks like they got plenty of water. I might give them a little bit of food here. Let's go get some food, feed them up. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Ivor's talking this morning already. You guys hungry? Come on, look out. I'm trying to think if it's been a week since you last saw them. You get off of there. I'm gonna feed you if you get out the way. Well, there's some in here. I just got the bedding in here. Alright, I poured that out near the wild bird feeders. Maybe they'll want some of it. Whoops. I love it when it all comes out in a big clump. Okay. So yeah, it's important to keep these guys warm. It's been kind of cold and rainy here the last week, 4 or 5 days. And actually our power went out 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. And I had to come out here and fire up the generator, keep the lamp going, keep them warm, because it was 54 degrees, something crazy like that in June here in North Carolina. Alrighty. There they go. They're eating. So we'll keep you posted on the growth and how these guys do. They eat a lot. They're cute now. Eventually, when they get their feathers in and they're able to keep themselves warm, we'll move them to a chicken tractor out in the yard and move them around, and you'll get to see all that. And in about, I guess we got 7 weeks left. They're a week old. It'll be time to graduate them to the freezer. As you can see, our meat birds here are getting kind of big, and they are quickly outgrowing their tub. We haven't had to use the heat lamp on the last couple nights. I still don't have a whole lot of feathers. They could use some more. They're hungry right now. Looks like their feeder's empty. I'm going to change out this feeder and try to let you watch. I'm going to put a bigger one in here. Try and let you watch what happens when I do this. Come on, get out the way. Get out the way. They turn into little piranha. They just... You get off of there. Get off of there. Get off. Okay. Let's see about giving them the big feeder. Over here, if I can get the dogs out the way. Alright, it's even got some stuff in the bottom here. Let's see if I can. They're bad about pushing their shavings and stuff in their poop. In here, let's shake some out. There we go. They're already eating the food I spilled out. Here we go. Look out! I don't want to run you over. Anybody under there? Nope. There's not. Well, they're not as hungry as they were the other day when I switched out the feeder. They just went crazy. Here we go. They climbed all over top of each other trying to get in there. But yep, later today, we're going to move them out to the chicken tractor, give them some more room. We've got another little box that we'll put some shavings in so they can get out of the cold and the rain, which the tractor's got a roof. I'll show that to you. I'll show you that here shortly. As you can see, we got the little meat birds out here in their chicken tractor. They're still kind of hanging out here all together because that's what they like to do, but they got more room to run around. We got a tote with some shavings in there that they can get in there and get out of the weather if they need to. They've been out here for about 24 hours now and seem to like it. Moving around pretty good. I'll back up here and give you a good look at the chicken tractor we're using. So this is one that I had made from the plans that I got from the Stody Ridge farmer. And I'll put a link to his chicken series where he raises meat birds and has this tractor and does things with it. And it's a pretty good tractor. The only thing, it's a little heavy. I didn't build it quite as big as he built his. It's a little smaller. We're not raising the number of birds he is. Got a tin roof on it, PVC pipe, chicken wire around it. Pretty simple and works pretty good. We'll come out here and probably slide it tomorrow. As they get bigger, it'll be moved every day and just about twice a day, depending on the number of birds you have. But like I said, nothing fancy. Some tin root on the roof that my buddy Andrew gave me from his chicken coop he'd tore down. But yeah, it works pretty good. Gets them out of that brooder, a little more room to move around and act like chickens. But as they get bigger, these meat birds, all they're going to do is eat. They like to eat and poop. That's about it. And eventually they'll get to the point where we'll just sit there in front of the feeder with their legs up, and all they're going to do is eat. That's about time for them to graduate to the freezer. They're looking pretty happy. This is not all of them. Some of them are in the tote, hanging out. What you doing there, little bird? All right, let's go check on the meat birds. As you can see, well, it's been a couple weeks since the last time I filmed them. And this is where they started out. And we've been moving them along through the yard up here to where they are now. And it's getting to the point where we got to move them every day. As you can see, because they are getting bigger and growing fast. You'll see here just how much they've grown in the last 2 weeks. And there they are. Doing pretty good. Still got feathers coming out. I would bet they doubled in size or more in the last 2 weeks. And they love it when we move them to the new grass. They run forward and they start eating the grass and the clover, and they love it when they get into the fresh grass. And this blue feeder here, lift up the lid. This blue feeder was filled up yesterday evening. So they will empty that whole blue feeder in a day. And the water too. We got to fill them up every day. Keep an eye on them because they will run out. And it has been hot. But as you can see here, our little meat birds are doing pretty good. Getting big. Kind of curious. Won't be too much longer. A few more weeks. That's it. Keep eating. Keep eating, little guy. Keep getting bigger. Here's the meat birds. And as you can tell, it's hot. It is very hot out here. And I think it's been about a week, a little over a week, since the last time you've seen them. And they are going through, we're filling that water up twice a day. And we're trying to keep an eye on them, make sure they keep water. And we moved the bucket water over here for them. I think they're getting some out of there. And we gotta feed them at least once a day. It's more like twice. And move them at least once a day. We're moving them once a day. Give them fresh grass and get them out of the poop. But this trough feeder, this is what they do, like this one was just doing here. They lay in front of it and they just sit there and eat and drink and lay around. They look pretty hot right now. Unfortunately, we don't have any cooler weather in the forecast. They're over there at least drinking. Hopefully it'll cool down some, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. So probably 2 more weeks. They'll be ready to graduate to the freezer, I'm guessing. Big day for the meat chickens today. They are 8 weeks old. Look at how big they are. Look at this big boy right here. He's a big boy. And we've quit feeding them today, because today is the day they graduate to the freezer. They're gonna get processed today. Yep, so they're hungry, but you gotta quit feeding them. I feel a little guilty. They don't have the last meal, but you don't want their stomachs and their craws and their guts full of food when you go to process them. But 8 weeks old, and look at how big they got. All right, we'll show you the setup where we're gonna process them. Here's our setup. We got the peanut gallery talking in the background. You know, got us. And, Edel, hey, say hey, Edel.
You can't even talk this morning.
No, I can't. And what is the name of your homestead, Edel?
Our homestead is called Farm Beag, which means little farm in Irish.
There you go. In case you haven't guessed it, Edel ain't from around here. But here's our...
She is now.
She is now, yeah. Here's our setup. We've got our hugging or killing cones where we'll drop the chickens in upside down. It'll
work better that way.
It's supposed to give them a feeling of euphoria as you basically Marie Antoinette them and let everything drain into the buckets we have sitting there. Then we scald them until the skin starts coming off the feet, and from there we throw them into the chicken plucker here. And we've got this chicken plucker courtesy of the Stony Ridge farmer. We've rented it from him, and we appreciate him renting this to us because it saves a lot of work plucking these chickens. And then over here, of course, the goddess and the table set up for butchering, gutting, and getting the chickens ready, and some ice water that once they're ready, she'll put them, what do you do with them? You put them in a bag?
I might put them in the bag. I might put them directly in there. Depends on how I'm doing it.
And cool them down.
Yep, keep them cool so I can can them.
That's the plan. We won't show you the actual killing of the chickens, but we'll show you the other processes. And it looks a little violent when they're in that chicken plucker, but you know they don't feel it by then. Here's a better look at the plucker. So you can see it's got all those rubber fingers in there that when you turn it on, spin around, well, the bottom spins. And the chicken beats around in there and it takes the feathers off and it shoots the feathers out the front, and we kind of got a bin here gathering them up. But yeah, it'll pluck that chicken in 30 seconds. It's an awesome machine. Saves so much time. And we've got the scalder over here. We're trying to keep it 150 degrees or less. You don't want to scald the chickens more than 30 seconds or so, they'll start to cook. Their skin will come off. As soon as the skin starts coming off the feet, it's time to take them out of the scalder and throw them in the plucker. We're in full swing now. Got my buddy Shay as the executioner, and he's scalding them. His wife Edel is running the plucker. Goddess is over here with carving them up. What am I doing? Filming. And I'm running around chasing these chickens, trying to get them, catch them, so Shay can do his thing there. Looks like it's time for me to get 2 more. It's been about an hour, hour and a half since we started processing our 16 meat birds, and they're done. We got these 16 done. End result here is they're all in this ice water, chilling. Whoops, just a chilling. So next step will be part some out, put some in bags, put them in the freezer. Well, after we help Edel and Shay with their 15 birds, since we already got everything set up, we're gonna get the birds, bring them up here and process those. I hope you found this video informative, a little educational, just about how fast those Cornish Cross meat birds grew. 8 weeks and boom, they're full size. Goddess tried to weigh them. She weighed the smallest one after she cleaned it, and it was like 4 pounds of chicken. The big ones she'd put on the scale and they overlapped and she couldn't read the scale, so we're betting some of those were 6 to 8 pounds of chicken after they were clean. But it's not difficult to raise your own food, raise your own meat birds. It's some work, it's a little time consuming. The hardest part, I think, is dragging that chicken tractor around and keeping them fed and watered and processing them. Processing them is a chore. But if you can get help like we did, go in together with some of your neighbors and fellow homesteaders and process them up, it goes a whole lot smoother. I tried to document the process and the dates so you could see just how fast they grew. The 8 weeks went pretty quick, but Goddess and I, we were glad to put these birds in the freezer and not have to go out there and move them every day and feed them and water them. It gets to be a chore after a while. But those birds will be delicious. There is a different taste to them than the chicken you buy in the grocery store. They just taste, in our opinion, better. If you get the chance to buy one from somebody who's raised one, I recommend you do it. Give it a try, and if you want to try raising them your own, go for it. It's, like I said, it's not that hard. It is some work, especially if you can go in with some neighbors. We tried to price out exactly how much we have invested in a bird. The Goddess was doing the math, and we came up with, was it $12 per bird, but we didn't figure in everything to that. I think we still had to figure in the cost of the chicken plucker, renting it. We didn't figure in the cost that we had already invested in the scalder and the killing cones and our time. We didn't figure in the cost of the time. So bottom, very basic, was probably $12 a bird is what we had invested, and it was probably closer to $15 plus our time. But the birds are good. We've raised our own food. We've got a freezer full of food. We don't have to worry about buying any chicken for quite some time. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you like the videos, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments, and subscribe to our Facebook page, Goddess and the Geek Homestead. And Ivar wants to get in on the act already this morning. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you later.